dispatch with power losses. Power losses. Understand? So here we consider the transmission losses. The transmission losses are the functions of the power generations of all the units. The total transmission losses that occur in the system, if you compute, it is a function of all the power generated by the all n committed units, where n is the number of committed units which are obtained after solving unit commitment problem. So, for example, let us say if n is equals to 2, then three different situations will arise. Let us take the first condition. If there is one generating unit here, this is one transmission line. There is one more generating unit here. Okay, so this is generator 2, this is generator 1, this is line 1, this is transmission line 2, and this is a transmission line 3, and here load is connected. Here load is connected. Okay, so it is line. Now let the resistance of each line be R1, R2, R3. The current flowing here be, let us call this current that is flowing here is I1, I2, and here the total current will be I1 plus I2. Okay, have you understood so far? I have considered two generating stations connected by the transmission lines as shown in the figure, and now the current supplied by the generator 1 is I1, current supplied by generator 2 is I2, and the resistance of the line 1 is R1, resistance of line 2 is R2, and the resistance of this transmission line 3 is R3, which is carrying a total current of I1 and I2 to meet the load. Now, power transmitted by the ith unit is given by root 3 into line to line voltage of the ith unit multiplied by current supplied by the ith unit into power factor of the ith unit. So current, how I can write? Current of the ith unit is Pi divided by root 3 into Vi into cos phi I. So any current I can write it as, in terms of powers, Pii is equals to Pi divided by root 3 Vi into cos phi I. Okay. Now, the total transmission losses in our case is 3 times I1 square R1, I2 square R2 plus I1 plus I2 whole square into R3. Because what is the formula for power loss? I square R. So in this one, the loss will be I1 square into R1. Here loss will be I2 square into R2. Here loss will be I1 plus I2 square into R3. Sir, why you are multiplying with 3? Because every transmission line has 3 conductors: R phase conductor, Y phase conductor, and B phase conductor. So total transmission losses will be 3 times this value. 3 times this value, because we are assuming the balanced condition. Okay. So this value, how we can write the total transmission losses. So every time, rather than writing P losses, we'll write PL. PL is equals to, if you substitute the values of this one, it is 3 into R1 into, what is the formula for I1? P1 square divided by V1 square into, what is the formula? Yeah, root 3 V1 square into cos phi 1 square. Okay, plus 3 into R2 into P2 square divided by root 3 V2 whole square into cos phi 2 square. And here you are going to get, here you are similarly is going to get what? So similarly you are going to get I1 plus I2 square R3 term. So now so this term is what? This term is I1 square. This term is I2 square. Here also I1 square, I2 square is there. And again I1, I2 term is there. So if you simplify this, you're going to get your PL is equals to, because in every term this 3 and root 3 will get cancelled. So eventually you're going to get R1 plus R3 divided by V1 square cos phi 1 square into E1 square plus R2 plus R3 divided by V2 square into cos square phi 2 divided by P2 square plus 2 times R3 divided by V1 V2 into cos phi 1 into cos phi 2 P1 P2 P1 P2. Understand? This is the loss formula. So these I can write it as PL is equals to this. Everything is a constant because the voltage is constant, power factor is constant. So I can write this one as B11 into P1 square plus this one as B22 into P2 square plus 2 times B12 into P1 P2. Understand? So these are called B coefficients. These are called B coefficients. So we use B coefficient formula to determine the transmission losses. Here what you have to observe is that your B11 is directly proportional to R1 plus R3. B22 is directly proportional to R2 plus R3. And B21 is directly, B12 or B21 both are same. B12 is proportional to R3. Okay. So your power loss is a function of P1, P2, likewise all the powers generated at the generating units. So there is one standard formula. We will not do all this exercise, just for your understanding we have explained. So there is a generalized formula for P power loss. It is given by P1, PL is equals to how we are going to write? Sigma I is equals to 1 to n. Sigma I is equals to 1 to n. Sigma j is equals to 1 to n. Pi, Bij, Pj. Very simple, you are going to get the equation. PL is equals to sigma I is equals to 1 to n, sigma j equal to 1 to n, I, Ij, j. Or in vector form, in matrix form, you can write this one as, for a 2 bus, it will be B11, B12, B21, B22 multiplied by P1 P2 into P1 for n is equals to 2. And you remember it is a symmetric matrix. Okay. So for n is equal to 3, one more, it will be a 3 by 3 matrix. You will get B11, B12, B13, B21, B22, B23, like that it will come. For your level, they will not ask beyond 2 buses, don't worry. So this is how you can remember the formula for the total power losses for any n bus system. These are called B coefficients, and even this matrix is symmetric, that is B12 equal to B21. Okay. Now, with including the transmission losses, our optimization problem will become, including transmission losses, our optimization problem will become, so optimization function including transmission losses will be minimize the total fuel cost, that is equals to sigma I is equals to 1 to n Fi subjected to what are the equality constraints? Now the equality constraint is equality constraint only one, that is your PG should be equal to PD plus PL, that is equals, which implies summation of I is equals to 1 to n Pi should match with total load demand plus total transmission losses. And what are the inequality constraints? Inequality constraint are Pi minimum should be less than or equal to Pi, should be less than or equal to Pi max for I is equals to 1 to n. So there are n inequality constraint and one equality constraint, which we have to do this one. So if we include this one, your Lagrangian function will become, so using Lagrangian method, your optimization function will become minimize the Lagrangian function L is equals to total fuel cost plus lambda into PD plus PL minus sigma I is equals to 1 to n Pi. You have to minimize this function subjected to these constraints, So what is the condition for minimum? Just a minute, I need few empty slides. We will continue from here. So what is the condition? dl by dpi is equals to 0. dl by dpi equal to 0, which implies DFT, total fuel cost by dpi, plus lambda into 0. Total load demand derivation is 0 into dou PL by dou PI minus 1 is equals to 0. Why? Because if you differentiate the PD is a constant, so its differentiation is 0. And PL is a function of all powers, that is P1, P2, P3 dash dash. Since you are only differentiating with I, you should write, it's a partial differentiation, so you should write dou PL by dou PI minus, in all generations, only PI is a function of PI, so you will get 1. And even in FT also, only Fi is a function of this one. So again, dl by dpi, you are going to get dfi by dpi plus lambda into dou pl by dou pi minus 1 is equals to 0. This is the condition for minimization. Condition for minimization. So here we know what is dFi by dPi. dFi by dPi is the incremental cost of the ith unit. Lambda is the Lagrangian multiplier. And dou PL by dou PI is incremental transmission loss of the ith unit. I'm going to write it, don't worry. So here dFi by dPi is incremental fuel cost of ith generating unit and dou PL by dou PI is the incremental transmission loss of ith generating unit. One is the incremental fuel cost and other is the incremental transmission loss of the ith unit. So for incremental fuel cost, we are going to write it as IC. And for this one, I am going to write as ITL, incremental transmission loss, shorthand. It is IC, it is the I. So here if we make this 0, you are going to get, what you are going to get? 0 is equals to incremental fuel cost of ith unit, incremental fuel cost of ith unit minus lambda into 1 minus incremental transmission loss of ith unit. Okay, here instead of plus I made minus. So you are going to get incremental fuel cost of ith unit is equals to, get lambda is equals to incremental fuel cost of ith unit minus 1 minus incremental transmission loss of the ith unit. That is dFi by dPi divided by 1 minus dou PL by dou PI. So this is the lambda. This is the lambda. Understand? So this should be satisfying for all the units. This should be satisfied for all the units. So this value, we are calling this one as 1 by 1 minus ITL of ith unit, that is equals to 1 by 1 minus dou PL by dou PI. This factor is called penalty factor. Penalty factor of ith unit, which is called ELI, which we denote by LI, penalty factor of the ith unit. That is 1 by 1 minus incremental transmission loss of ith unit is called penalty factor of the ith unit. So if you substitute that, what you are going to get, lambda is equals to incremental cost of ith unit multiplied by penalty factor of the ith unit. Penalty factor of the ith unit. Understand? So here the optimization condition for minimization of fuel cost, total fuel cost condition is that for every unit lambda is equals to IC1 incremental cost of first unit multiplied by penalty factor of first unit should be equal to incremental cost of second unit multiplied with the penalty factor of second unit, so on and so forth. Incremental cost of ith unit multiplied by the penalty factor of ith unit, so on and so forth. Incremental cost of the nth unit multiplied by penalty factor of the nth unit. So this is the condition when transmission losses are included and coordinated. When transmission losses are included and coordinated. Okay. So this is the condition for minimization of the total fuel cost when we include and coordinate the transmission losses. First case is where we did not include the transmission losses and we did not coordinate them. Understand? Next, to get a minimum solution for economic load dispatch problem, that is to optimize the generations in the economic load dispatch problem, the product of penalty factor and incremental cost should be same for all the units. Okay. So in that equation, the equation which we have got is called a coordination equation. In the coordination equation, incremental cost is responsible for minimization of generation cost. Lesser is the incremental cost, lesser would be the generation cost. Similarly, lesser is the penalty factor, minimum would be the losses. So penalty factor takes care of the losses as well as the incremental cost is responsible for the generation cost. So importance of penalty factor. So what is the importance of penalty factor? The first point is if penalty factor increases, the incremental cost would decrease. Why? Because since in the coordination equation, the product of penalty factor and the incremental cost is constant, lambda, which is a constant. So as L increases, your incremental cost will decrease. So what is the formula for incremental cost? What is the standard format? It is AI, incremental cost of the ith unit is AI PI plus BI. As AI and BI are the constants, are the cost coefficients which are constants. So as incremental cost decreases, your generation of the particular unit will decrease. Okay. So greater is the penalty factor of that unit, then lesser will be the generation of that unit. Understand? This is one point. And incremental transmission loss, it would be between the 0 and 1. So again, I'm reiterating fact. So here, lambda is equals to incremental cost divided by 1 minus incremental transmission loss of the ith unit. So here, this numerator is called incremental cost. This one is called this factor of dou PL by dou PI, because we are considering the ith unit, is called incremental transmission loss. So 1 divided by 1 minus incremental transmission loss will give penalty factor of the ith unit. In general, 1 divided by 1 minus incremental transmission loss is penalty factor. So when you consider this one, lambda is equals to incremental cost multiplied by penalty factor. You should be very clear with these terms. What is penalty factor? What is incremental loss? And what is the relationship between those? So here, as you can see, as penalty factor increases, the incremental cost will decrease. As incremental cost decreases, the generation of that particular unit will decrease. Okay, in this coordination equation. So suppose if you take this example, here there is a generating unit which is supplying a load of PD, and the total losses that we are occurring is PL. So how much it should generate? The power generated by this one, say P should be equal to the total power demanded plus total losses, because there is only one generating unit. Now in this case, the incremental transmission loss ITL will become the losses divided by the generation. Losses divided by the generation. So usually these losses will be, the losses incurred would be in the range of, it can be the loss less than, as the losses can be zero or the complete generation can be equal to losses. So your incremental transmission loss will be between 0. Your incremental transmission loss will be between 0 and 1. 0 and 1. Understand? So the third point is, if incremental transmission loss increases, the penalty factor will decrease. So what will happen? L is equals to 1 by this one. So your incremental loss also will increase. So if incremental transmission loss is equals to 0, which implies your penalty factor will be 1. If incremental transmission loss is say 0.1, your penalty factor will become 1 divided by 0.9, that is 1.11. If your incremental transmission loss is equals to 0.2, your penalty factor will become 1.25. So greater is the incremental transmission loss, greater is the penalty factor. Okay, that is the third important point. The fourth important point is penalty factor is equals to 1 if incremental transmission loss is equals to 0. When the incremental transmission loss will be 0, when load is directly connected. When load is directly connected to the generating unit. When the load is directly connected to generating unit, then the incremental transmission loss would be 0 and the penalty factor would be 1. Like this. This is a situation where here the generator is there, here only load is connected. Then whatever you generate, that will be fed to the load. Your losses are 0. So in this case, the incremental transmission loss is 0 divided by P is. For a fixed generation, penalty factor increases if distance between generating station and load center increases. So for a fixed generation, the penalty factor increases if the distance between the generating station and load center increases. How? Just we can see. We know that incremental transmission loss I is equals to PL divided by P, where PL is the losses that are occurred from the generating station to the load center, and P is the total power generated by that generator, Just for your understanding, again I'm drawing. So if it is this generator which is connected to the load here, PD, so now this generator, for transmitting the power PD, it is incurring a loss of PL. So now the total generation of this generator is P is equals to PL plus PD, losses plus demand. Now the incremental transmission loss of this generator is the losses that are incurred for transferring PD power to the load divided by the generation of that generator. Understand? So now, so what happens if incremental transmission loss increases? Your penalty factor will increase, that we have already seen. Okay. So if penalty factor increases, what will happen? If incremental transmission loss increases, penalty factor increases, but incremental transmission loss is directly proportional to power loss that is occurring. So, which implies your PL also will increase. So when the power loss increases, incremental transmission loss increases, penalty factor will increases. As power loss increases, what happens? The resistance of the line increases. Why it will increase? Because power loss is equals to 3 into I square R. 3 into I square R. So since power generated by the generator is constant for a fixed generation, for constant P, for constant power generation, your current is almost constant. The current is almost constant. So in this factor, as PL increases, your R will increase. So PL is increases, which implies your resistance will increase. As resistance increases, the length of the line increases, where L is the length of the, or the distance between the generation to the load center, or the length of transmission line increases. So what is the correlation here? The penalty factor increases, the L increases if the distance between the generating station and load center increases for the fixed power generation. So what is the conclusion? If the distance between the load center and the generation center is great, then the penalty factor would be more. Understand? If the distance between the generating station and the load center is less, the penalty factor would be less. If the load is directly connected to the generator, then the penalty factor would be 0. So this is very important point which you have to remember. Penalty factor increases if the distance between the generating station and the load center increases. So this, yes. So yesterday we have derived the derivation for the B coefficients or the loss coefficients, if you recollect. So this is the setup that we have used. Now we will see the different other cases possible in this situation. Say for example, first you write down one note. So based on this point, if you can see different cases, say let us case one where a generator is here, the load is also here, and there is one more generator here. Understand? So this is generator 1, this is generator 2, and this is the load PD, which is connected to the bus bar of the generator 1. Now, if you can see how we can see this one, then what is the resistance of this line? If you can correlate with the situation, let us assume the load is present at here, and even generator 1 is present here. So which is the line that is present now? Only this line 2 is present. So this is nothing but line 2, and this is nothing but R2, resistance 2. Okay. Now what is B11 here? B11 is directly proportional to R1 plus R3. Here both R1 is 0. There is no line 1 and line 3. So both are 0. So B11 is 0. Blindly remember, B11 corresponds to the generation of the first generator, that is P1. B22 corresponds to the generator P2. So here, since the load is directly connected to generator 1, your B11 coefficient will be 0. Okay. Now what is B12? B12, that is B21, is directly proportional to R3. Here R3 is also 0. There is no R3. Okay. Now, what is B22? B22 is directly proportional to R2 plus R3. So here it is R3 is 0, but R2 is there. So now your power loss will become, the total power loss will become, since all other coefficients are 0, we can directly write B22 into P2 square, so many megawatt. The power loss equation will become B22 into P2 square. If you substitute all these coefficients in this formula which we have recollected, PL is equals to, I is equals to 1 to N. Here in this case it is 2. J is equals to 1 to 2. Pi, Bij, Pj. So if you substitute in this one, what you are going to get? You are going to get PL is equals to B22 P2 square, so many megawatt. Understand? So if this whatever the circuit or the system is given in this form, then you can directly write these relationships. Understand? Now your dou PL by dou P1 is 0 because nowhere P1 term is there. Your dou PL by dou P2 term will become 2 times B22 P2. 2 times B22 P2. Here it is a unitless quantity. The incremental transmission loss will become this one. Okay. So the penalty factor will become how much? The penalty factor of the first unit is 1 divided by 1 minus dou PL by dou P1. This is 1 by 1 minus 0. Why? Because PL term does not contain dou P1. So your penalty factor for the first unit is 1. Penalty factor for the second unit is 1 minus 1 by dou PL by dou P2. So this will become 1 divided by 1 minus 2 times B22 P2. Understand? So if your system given is in this form, then you will get all these relationships. Okay, this is case 1. Now case 2. Case 2, if you think exactly opposite. Okay, now which is the line here? Then this line will become, if you correlate with our original system, this is line 1 and this is resistance is R1. Resistance is R1. So here your B11 will be there because it is directly proportional to R1 plus R3. Your B22 will be equal to 0 because it is directly proportional to R2 plus R3. Here both R2 and R3 are 0, 0. And B12 equals to B21 is equals to directly proportional to R3. Since R3 is 0, they are also 0. Now if you substitute in the above same formula, I am directly writing your PL will become P11 into P1 square. P1 square. This is your loss formula. Now, in this case, your incremental, your penalty factor for the first unit, or if you write the incremental transmission loss of first unit, that is dou PL by dou P1, will become 2B11 P1. Similarly, dou PL by dou P2 will become 0. So directly I am writing the penalty factor of the first unit will become 1 by 1 minus 2B11 P1. Penalty factor of second unit will become 1 by 1 minus 0, that is 1. Okay. So this is the second case that you can encounter. The last practical case that you can encounter is if load is present at an equal distance, from both generating units. From both generating units. Then how would be the situation? That is, this is one generator, and exactly in the center there is load, and then this is one more second generator, G2, G1. Now this is, if you correlate with this one, this is line 1, resistance is R1, line 2, resistance is R2, line 3, R3 is 0 because directly load is connected at the midpoint. Okay, demand is PD. So in this case, what happens? Since it is at equal distance from both the sources, your R1 will be equal to R2. Since the load is present at an equal distance from both the generators, your R1 will become R2, your R3 is 0. So if you can observe your B11, which is directly proportional to R1 plus R3, and B22, which is directly proportional to R2 plus R3, both will be same. So your B11 will be equal to B2. Your B11 will be equal to B22. Your power loss equation will become B11 P1 square plus B22 P2 square. Understand? Now, the incremental transmission losses will be dou PL by dou P1 will become 2 B11 P1. Dou PL by dou P2 will become 2 B22 P2. Okay. So the penalty factors also will be, no, they will not be same. So incremental transmission loss, then the respective penalty factors will become, yes, I'll write here only. L1 penalty factor is equals to 1 by 1 minus 2 P11 P1. Your L2 will become 1 minus 2 B22 P2. Here in this case, if the coefficients are both greater, so both your L1 and L2 will be greater than 1. Penalty factors L1 and L2 both will be greater than 1. Okay. So this is the third situation that you can encounter, how you have to calculate the penalty factors. This one. So when both penalty factors will be same, when both the power generated by the same units, this is the power generated by unit 1, this is the power generated by unit 2. If both the powers are same, if P1 is equals to P2, then what will happen? Your L1 will be equal to L2. Both penalty factors will be same. Here also you write the power generation of this unit is P1, this unit is P2. Understand? We are following the same nomenclature. Okay. So these are the three different situations that you can encounter while calculating the penalty factor and incremental. When we have to consider the losses in the question, when we have to consider the losses. So when we have to consider, I'm just giving you hint. First point, loss information is given. When they give about some power loss information, then read the question carefully. Then you have to incorporate, either you have to include or coordinate. How we have to do that, we will see with few examples. Okay. When loss coefficients are given, loss coefficients are given. That is when he gives the data of the B coefficients. B coefficients. When penalty factor, when penalty factor or incremental transmission loss data are given. Okay. So this, when these three situations are given, then that means you read the question table where you have to include or coordinate the transmission losses. include or coordinate the transmission. We have to consider the losses when any of these data is given. Okay. So already we know two situations. Out of 4 cases, we know when the losses are completely neglected and not considered, how we have to do, we have completely studied that one, where lambda is equals to only incremental transmission loss is there. So I'm writing again. Type 1 problems. Type 1 situation is that losses are not included and coordinated. Losses are not included and coordinated. Then the solution, what methodology we'll adopt is that we take the summation of I is equals to 1 to n pi, that is sum of all generations, will equate it to total load demand. And second thing what we do is we take lambda is equals to incremental cost of the all units, where I is equals to 1 to n. So only we'll consider this case, that is the incremental cost of all generating units must be equal to must be same. The incremental costs of all generating units must be same, and sum of all generation is equal to load demand. This many problems we have done based on this concept, where losses are not included and coordinated. Very important. So that's second type of problems that we may encounter are losses are included but not coordinated. Losses are included but not coordinated. Here we have to include the losses. That means your summation of I is equals to 1 to n pi should be equal to PD plus PL. You have to include the losses. That means your sum of all generations must be equal to PD plus PL. But however, the condition for optimization will become lambda is equals to incremental cost of the ith unit, where I is equals to 1 to 2, 3 dash 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 n. You need not worry about that penalty factor term, where you only have to equate the incremental costs, But however, you have to include the losses. That is, the total losses plus total demand must be equal to the sum of all generations. So type 3 situation is that losses are not included but coordinated. We don't include the losses, but we have to coordinate them. Then in this case, what is the condition? Yeah, tell me what can be the condition. Summation of I is equals to 1 to n pi will be equal to the PD, because we need not include the losses, only demand. But however, your condition will become lambda is equals to incremental cost into penalty factor. Penalty factor multiplied by incremental cost should be, of all the units should be same, where I is equals to 1, 2, 3 dash 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 n. Understand? That means the penalty factor should be same, lambda equal to L1 IC1, that is equals to L2 IC2, it is equals to L3 IC3 dash 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 Ln ICN. But in the summation of all generations must be only equal to PD. This is where losses are not included but coordinated. The last case is type 4. Losses are included and coordinated. Understand? So in this case, the optimization condition, what we have to consider, summation of I is equals to 1 to n pi is equals to PD plus PL, and your lambda is equals to Li into ICI. For all I is equals to 1, 2, 3, dash, dash, dash. N. Here we are including as well as coordinating the losses. That is, you are getting lambda is equals to L1 IC1, that is equals to L2 IC2, that is equals to L3 IC3, so on and so forth, Ln ICN. Understand? So losses are included and coordinated. This is type 4 situation. Okay. So problems may come in any of these 4 types. Okay. Now, the load demand is 90 megawatt and the power generated by the unit is 100 megawatt. And he's asking the find out penalty factor. Power generated here, only one single generator is there. Power generated by the unit must be equal to total demand plus losses, which implies 100 megawatt is the generation, 100 is equals to 90 plus PL, which implies your PL is equals to 10 megawatt. So incremental transmission loss of the unit is PL divided by power generation, which implies incremental transmission loss equals to 10 divided by 100, that is 0.1. So penalty factor is equals to 1 divided by 1 minus ITL. So this is 1 divided by 0.1. So penalty factor is 1.11. 0.11. Incremental transmission loss has no units. It's a dimensionless quantity. Dimensionless quantity because it is power divided by power. Understand? What is the unit of beta coefficient? Megawatt inverse. You have to remember these things. This for a generation of 100 megawatt by G1, a loss of 10 megawatt will occur, and the total load connected at generator 2 is 260 megawatt. So determine the optimum generations of G1 and G2 where the losses are included but not coordinated. The incremental cost of 2 units are given. Okay. Now, what is the condition that we have to remember here? It is this problem is based on your P1 plus P2 should match with 260 megawatt, which is load demand plus PL. Okay. Now, the other condition is that the incremental cost of generator 1 must be equal to incremental cost of generator 2 because losses are not coordinated. So first, how we can write PL here? PL is equals to, here it is directly connected at G2. So we can write B11 into P1 square. B11 into P1 square. First, we need to get the B11 data. Why? Because we cannot fix the generation to 100 megawatt. He did not tell that it is generating 100 megawatt. He is telling for a 100 megawatt generation, the loss occurs that is occurring is 10 megawatt. So if we keep that data, PL is equals to 10 megawatt when generation is 100 megawatt. So which implies your B11 will become, how much it will become? 10 power minus 3 megawatt inverse. This is your B11 data. So if you substitute in this one, what we are going to get? P1 plus P2 is equals to 260 megawatt plus 10 power minus 3 B11 into P1 square. P1 square. This is first relationship. The other relationships we'll get by equating the incremental costs. Since incremental cost of 1 is equals to incremental cost 2, which implies the other relationship we'll get it is 0.02 P1 plus 16 is equals to 0.04 P2 plus 20. From this, you're going to get 0.02 P1 minus 0.04 P2 is equals to 4 is equals to 4. From this I can write P2 is equals to 0.02 P1 minus 4 divided by 0.04. Okay, if you substitute this one in this above equation, what you are going to get, let us call this one 1. Substituting P2 in 1, you are going to get what? You are going to get, yes, you are going to get one quadratic equation. You are going to get one quadratic equation. If you solve this quadratic equation, you can very easily simplify. Whether you can do, what you can do is you can multiply every term with 1000, your life will be easy. If you multiply every term with 1000, both LHS and RHS, then it will become very simple. It will become very simple. So I'm directly, if you multiply with 1000, you are going to get P1 square minus 1.5 P1 minus 360 equal to 0. If you multiply both sides with 1000. So if you solve this one, you're going to get P1 is equals to 1200. P1 is equals to 300. So 1200 is an upset because P1 plus P2 plus losses is becoming only 260. So P1 is a 1200 is an absurd quantity. So we neglect this one. So if you substitute P1 equal to 300, you are going to get the other values as well. So P1 is equals to 300. The PL will become 10 power minus 3 into 300 square. 300 square. So you are going to get 90 megawatt. So your P2 will become, if you substitute in P1 plus P2 is equals to 360 plus 90, in which P1 is equals to 300. So which implies your P2 will become, how much? 260. P2 will become 50 megawatt. Okay. So this is how we have to solve this question. Okay. So here the generation P1 is 300 megawatt, generation P2 is 50 megawatt, and the losses are 90 megawatt losses. This will not be proportional to the power. Somebody says when for 100 you are getting 10, for 200 you will not get 20. The relationship will not be like that because it is not a linear relationship. It is a quadratic relationship. Understand? Don't ever assume that if the losses are 10 megawatt for 100 megawatt, it will be 20 for 200. No, it's an absurd. There is no linear relationship between the losses and the power generation. It's a quadratic relationship. He's asking you to determine the PD value where the transmission losses both are included and coordinated. This is the data he has given. So when transmission losses are both included and coordinated, what we have to do? We have to, only two generators are there. P1 plus P2 is equals to PD plus PL. This is the first condition which we have to consider. The second one is the product of penalty factor into incremental cost L2 into IC2 should be equal to lambda, which he has given. So we have to solve the problem by taking these two equations. Now, first, if we do this one, if you take the penalty factors, lambda value, we know lambda is equals to 25. That is equals to L1 IC1 is equals to L2 IC2. L2 IC2. So what you are going to get? L1, we know the incremental cost and we also know this value. Why? Because if you see the connection here, we know the penalty factor for generator 2 with whatever so far we have learned. The penalty factor for generator 2 is how much? 0. Because load is directly connected to generating station 2. And your L1 will become how much? 1 divided by 1 minus 2 B11 P1. Okay. So if you substitute those, what we are going to get, you see, the penalty factor of the first generator is 1 divided by 1 minus 2 into 10 power minus 3 into P1 multiplied by incremental cost is how much? 0.01 P1 plus 17 is equal to penalty factor of second generator is 1 into incremental cost is 0.06 P2 plus 19 plus 19. Understand? So this you have to simplify. This you have to simplify. If you this is equal to 25 actually. So if you equate this term and this term, you're directly going to get P2. There is no problem in this one. So P2 will become, if you equate first and third term, P2 will become 25 minus 19 divided by 0.06 will give you directly P2 value. What is the P2 value? Directly get as 100 megawatt. And P1 value also, if you equate this with 0.05, P1 is equals to 0.01 P1 plus 17. So from this, you are easily going to get 25 minus 133.33 megawatt. So these are the two demands. We got the two generations, but this is not the question. He's asking PD. So first you have to calculate PL. PL is equals to B11 into P1 square. If you substitute 10 power minus 3 into P1 square is 133.33 whole square. What you are going to is the loss. So now our total load demand will become how much? How we have to calculate? P1 plus P2. P1 plus P2 is equals to PD plus PL. So if you substitute the values in this one, your PD is going to become 133.33 plus 100 minus 17.77. This is your total load demand. Megawatt is your load that is connected in the system. That is your answer. This is the other type of questions which you may encounter. L2. It's very simple, straightforward question which you can do. Again, he also gave the system. So first, since we directly, if you by looking at the figure only, you can say that the penalty factor of 1 is 0. Because so L1 we can directly write as 1 because the load is directly connected at 1. So we can directly write the penalty factor of generator 1 is 1. So for calculating the penalty factor of L2, it is 1 by 1 minus 2 into B2 to P2. So this value will become 1 minus 2 into 10 power minus 3 into the generation P2 is 100. So it will become 1 by 0.2. This is 1.25. So L1 is 1, L2 is 1.25. This is the other question. In this case, how we can approach the problem? We need to calculate the penalty factor, L1. So here the data that he has given, with that we can calculate the penalty factor 2. But he's asking the penalty factor 1, but he did not give the incremental transmission loss of the first generator. So here what he is telling, the condition that we have to use is that L1 IC1 is equals to L2 IC2. When the two generators are optimally generating, the product of penalty factor and incremental cost would be same. So L1 IC1 will be equal to L2 IC2. So here L1 value I don't know, but what is the incremental cost of first generator? 0.15 P1 plus 150 is equals to L2. I can calculate 1 by 1 minus incremental transmission loss, that is this into IC2 is how much? 0.25 P2 plus 175. He also gave the generations. When the losses are coordinated and included. So if you substitute those values, you're going to get L1 into 0.15 into 200 plus 150 is equals to, this value will become 1 by 0.8, that is 1.25 into 0.25 into 200 plus 175. So from this you can calculate the L1 value. L1 value you're going to get it as 1.562. Okay. So in this question, what he is telling, the incremental costs are given or the generations are given when the P1, P2 or the optimum generations when losses are included and coordinated. When losses are included and coordinated. Okay. So he has given the two incremental costs. He gave the generations when the losses are included and coordinated. He gave this data. So he's asking calculate penalty factor L1. So we use this condition to arrive at this penalty factor of L1. Okay. So now this is the GATE 2012 questions. So he gave this data. The fuel cost of generation G1 and G2 are given. The loss in the line is given as 0.5 Pg1 square Pu, where the loss coefficient is specified in per unit of 100 MVA base. The most economic generation schedule in megawatt will be. So it's a very simple question, but instead of giving the data in direct units, he gave it in per unit. So per unit also he gave the base MVA also. So he's asking the optimal load generation, optimal load schedule. Load demand, he has given it as 40 megawatt. Power loss in per unit is 0.5 into Pg1 per unit square. Pg1 per unit square. Okay. First, since it is directly connected at bus 2, we can directly write the penalty factor of L2 is 1. L1 is 1 divided by 1 minus dou PL by dou P1. So I'm going to get it as 1 Pg1 per unit. Pg1 per unit. So your penalty factor will become, he gave the incremental cost actual rupees per megawatt hour, rupees per megawatt hour. So if you will become 1 by 1 minus dPL by dPg 1. So this is 1 by 1 minus Pg1 per unit you're going to get. Pg1 per unit is equals to penalty factor. So 1 by 1 minus Pg1 per unit is into incremental cost is 10,000 rupees per megawatt hour and penalty factor of generator 2 is 1. Why? Because it is directly connected to the bus 2. Load is directly connected to bus 2. So penalty factor of generator 2 is 1 into 12,500 rupees per megawatt hour with whatever data he has given. So by simplification, what you are going to get, 1 minus Pg1 per unit is equals to 10,000 divided by 12,500, which is 0.8. So which implies your Pg1 per unit will become 0.2 per unit. Directly Pg1 per unit will become 0.2 per unit. Now the power loss per unit, if you substitute this value, is going to become 0.5 into 0.2 whole square. So many per unit. So this will become 0.5 into 0.04 is how much? 0.5 into 0.04 is per unit. But what is the actual power loss? Power loss actual will become, we'll put it in new slide. Power loss actual is equals to power loss per unit into MVA base. Yes, base. MVA base. This you will study when you study the per unit system. So this will become 0.02 into 100 MVA. It will become 2 megawatt. 2 megawatt is the power loss. So now, how much should be the generation? The generation values would be how much? The total load demand P1 plus P2. P1 plus P2 should be equal to PD plus PL, which is equal to 40 plus 2, 42 megawatt. 42 megawatt. So in this condition, how you can check it out? The power generation is 2 megawatt. So what should be the generation value? If you can see, P loss is equals to, in this one, what you're going to get, your P1 value will be 22 megawatt and P2 value will be 20 megawatt. 20 megawatt. Understand? So this option would be B would be the right option. Let's take up this question. The incremental fuel costs. So he gave the incremental cost of all 3 units and the limits of generation of all 3 units. Now he's asking what is the economic load scheduling for the given conditions? What is the economic load scheduling for the given conditions? Understand? Then how to solve this problem? So if you carefully observe, the incremental cost of third generating unit is constant. The incremental cost of the third generating unit is constant. It is 30 rupees. It is not dependent upon the generation. It is not dependent upon the. In this case, what we can do is that, what is the minimum generation for both the units? 50. Let us substitute the incremental cost of one corresponding to 50 megawatt. How much it will become? 20 plus 0.3 into 50. What is the incremental cost here? 20 plus 5 3 is 15. It is 35 rupees. 35 value. The incremental cost of 2 corresponding to this one is 30 plus 0.4 into 50. It is 50. Whereas the incremental cost of third unit is how much? 30. So for the minimum generations, the incremental cost of the third unit is less. So we have to fully load the third unit. First you fully load the third unit. What is the highest loading that we can provide for any generator is 300 megawatt. So you fix the P3 through 300 megawatt because it is having the least incremental cost even for the minimum generation, and it is fixed. So you fully load the third generator. The remaining load of 400 megawatt you share according to equal incremental costs among the first and second generator. So now if you equate the incremental costs of generator 1 and 2, what you are going to get? 20 plus 0.3 P1 is equals to 30 plus 0.4 P2. This is one relationship. The other relationship is P1 plus P2 is equals to remaining load of 400 megawatt. You solve this to get the load sharings. So if you simplify this, what you're going to get? 0.3 P1 minus 0.4 P2 is equals to 10. This is one equation. The other equation is P1 plus P2 equal to 400. If you solve that, what you're going to get? 242.85.
P2 is 157.14.
157.14. Check whether they are within limits or not. Yes, they are within the limits. So this is the optimum generation. So whenever such a problem comes, this is the approach what you have to do. For the minimum load, you check the incremental cost. Since it is a constant incremental cost, definitely the incremental cost for the minimum load is, even for the minimum load is the cheapest for this one, and it is also constant. So you fully load generator 3. Fully load generator 3. What is the full loading? 300. The remaining load you share according to equal incremental cost among the remaining two generators. Then you will get this option. The option is A is the right option. A is the right option. Okay. A load center is equidistant from two thermal generating stations G1 and G2 as shown in the figure. The fuel cost characteristics are given, where P1, P2 are the generations in megawatt, G1, G2 respectively. For most economical generation to meet a load of 300 megawatt, P1, P2 respectively are. So again, he did not mention anything about the losses. So again, we have to go by the incremental cost of both equal to same, and P1 plus P2 is equals to 300 megawatt. By doing so, incremental costs of the first generation, I'm directly writing it is 2CP1 plus B. That should be equal to incremental cost of this one is 2CP2 plus B. 2CP2 plus B. So if you equate them, BB cancel. So 2C also cancel. P1 is equals to P2. So directly we can write 150 megawatt and 150 megawatt. Both generators will share 150 megawatt each because we have equated the both incremental costs. So 2C cancel, BB cancel. So your P1 is becoming equal to P2. And we know that P1 plus P2 is 300 megawatt. So both will share 150 megawatt. A load of 120 megawatt is delivered from two power stations connected by 220 kV transmission lines, 25 kilometers and 75 kilometers as shown in the figure. The three generators are having a capacity of 100 megawatt each and have identical fuel cost characteristics. The minimum loss generation schedule for supplying 120 megawatt load is. Since the load is nearer to generator 1, all the fuel cost curves are same. So obviously generator 1 should deliver more power. So option A and B, out of these two only the right option would be there, because since all the generators are having same capacity and are having same fuel cost curves, and as load is nearer to the generator 1, so generator 1 should supply the maximum load when compared to this two. The second point also you should remember that the generator G2 are located at the same location. Whatever the power they supply, it should be identical. It should be identical. Why? Because the fuel cost characteristics are same, as well as the capacities of the both G2, G3 are same. So two hints. First one is G2 and G3 should supply same power and G1 should supply more power than compared to this one. When you look at all the options, blindly you can put the option A is the right option. Option A is the right option. Understand? Common sense. G2 and G3 should supply the same amount of power because they are located at same distance. Fuel cost characteristics are same and the capacities of generators are also same. So they should supply same power. Since G1 is located closer, it should supply more, which you should, if you compare these two conditions, the right option would be, sir, why not B? Why not B? Because here P2 is supplying 30 megawatt for plus losses. P3 is only supplying 30 megawatt. So that won't be right option. So A would be the right option by the analysis. But if you go mathematically, resistance of the line, let us consider the resistance of the line. Suppose this is generator 1. It is located at a distance of 25. Let us call this resistance as this one, capital R. Whereas generator 2 are located at 75. So this value will become 3R. This value will become 3R. Here 120 megawatt load is connected. Okay. Now, let the current fed by this generator is I1. The current fed by this generator is I2. and current fed by this generator is I3. So the current fed by generator is directly proportional to power produced by generator because voltage is constant. The power produced by generator is how much? √3 VL IL cos phi. So if you assume the voltage of the system is, he said 132 or 220, which is constant and power factor is same. So current is directly proportional to power produced by the generator. That implies I1 is directly proportional to P1, I2 is directly proportional to P2, I3 is directly proportional to P3. Okay, so total transmission losses will become what? In I1 square into R plus I2 square into 3R plus I3 square into 3R. Okay, so your power loss is directly proportional to P1 square into R plus P2 square into 3R plus P3 square into 3R. Now, PL is, we can write this one as some constant, R also I'm including in that constant, into K, some constant into P1 square plus 3P2 square plus 3P3 square. Okay, so your power loss is directly proportional to some constant. In this constant, I'm also including the common resistance value R. So you're going to get this value. Now you substitute all the four options that he has given, and whichever option will give you minimum losses, that is the optimal load scheduling. So if I substitute in this one the option A, from option A, what you're going to get? So P1 is equals to 80 megawatt. So your P will become some constant into 80 square plus 3 into 20 square, 20 megawatt plus 3 into 20 square. You will get some value. Okay. If you substitute from option B, option, what you are going to get? PL is equals to some constant into 60 square plus 3 into 30 square plus 3 into 30 square. You are going to get some value. From C, you are going to get PL is equals to, yes, K into 40 square plus 3 into 40 square plus 3 into 40 square. So from option D, you are going to get PL is equals to K into 30 square plus 40 square into 3, sorry, 45 square into 3 plus 3 into 45 square. So out of this, you have calculated all the losses. So which one would be minimum? Which one would be minimum? If you substitute these values, what you are going to get? It is 8,800 into K. And this value is 9,000 into K. This values would be 11,200 into K. This is 13,050 into K. So where the losses are minimum? The losses are minimum in option A. So this is the optimal load scheduling. The option A will give you the minimum losses. The minimum loss generation schedule for supplying 120 megawatt loads, where the minimum losses are minimum, option A is the right option. You can do either by this logic or by going through this mathematical method. So we have covered all the possible models in this. Okay, thank you.